On September 24th, 2014, President Barack Obama stepped off of Marine One, and as he did, he had a coat over his left arm. He had a cell phone in his left hand, and in his right hand, he had a cup of coffee, and in his haste, he snapped a salute, which of course this video played in a continuous loop the next day on Fox News as they were outraged. And if you wanted to be outraged, they provided us a hashtag so we could all be outraged together. Now, because that is trending on social media, it gets picked up by the mainstream media. It was the only thing people could talk about that day. Now, Democrats were not going to leave this alone. They became outraged that people were outraged. And they started posting pictures like this, but it sucked all the oxygen out of the newsrooms. It was the only thing we could talk about. What we missed that day was President Obama, when he stepped off of Marine One, he was on his way to the UN to deliver a speech on climate change, something that will probably, kill our planet. And so that day it started me thinking, maybe the problem isn't Republicans or Democrats or social media or mainstream media. Maybe, just maybe, the problem is outrage. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't be outraged. In fact, it's enough to make Mr. Rogers turn into Lewis Black. You want to have a good day? Thank you for laughing for that. And so we can be outraged about a lot of things. In fact, if you aren't outraged, the UN has been nice enough to provide us with a list of 17 things that we should be outraged about. And actually, outrage is probably the appropriate reaction to some of this stuff. Now, the problem with perpetual outrage is it leaves us powerless and hopeless and cynical. It depletes our energy. It keeps us from getting to change. Now, moral outrage is the easy part. It's the cheap parlor trick. But when we add moral courage, then it ignites our moral imagination, and it becomes a moral compass that creates a movement. And you don't have to be some kind of superstar, rock star to do this. In fact, any one of us, you and I, everyday people, we can do this. All we have to do is be a little bit brave. What I'm asking is, let's tell the whole story. When we only tell the part that is outrageous, we feel powerless, but when we combine that with solutions, we have hope, we have energy, we're uplifted, we can make change. So, for example, when you see headlines like this, that African American women are 2 times more likely to die of heart disease, that their life expectancy is 3.8 years shorter than white women, that is outrageous. But when you talk to Morgan Dixon, she has the courage to imagine 1 million black women walking together. And Morgan says, when black women walk, things change. Or you might think about this headline you might have seen recently. There are 20% unemployment among youth in Peru. 70% of them are women. That means there are 2 million women in Peru that are trapped in poverty. But when you are Mariana Costa and you can have the courage to imagine a code academy where you teach poor young women how to code, and they get jobs in the tech sector at 3 times their previous income levels. Or this. Outrage is the appropriate response to violence against women. And yet, Joy McBrain, from right here in Minnesota, she went beyond outrage. She had the moral courage to start Fair Anita, where she creates livelihoods for thousands of women around the world, and those women are now escaping from domestic violence. And so these are everyday people, just like you and me. They had the courage that ignited their moral imagination, and then that became a moral compass that became a movement. So here's all I'm asking. Let's tell the whole story. And when we do, it creates a moment when we can dial down the outrage and turn up our social good. Thank you.